Hi everyone! In today's tutorial, we are going to study about joins or merge in Python. So, in this tutorial, we'll be covering 4 commonly used types, which is inner join, outer join, left join and right join. As well as, we'll be covering 4 real-life scenarios which every coder faces while doing joins in Python. So, let's go! Let me firstly import my library over here. Let's start with inner joins first. So, in joins, generally there are 2 tables involved. One is called a left table, another one is called a right table. So let's say over here this is my left table and over here it is my right table. So there might be some records which are present only in one table, either in left table or right table. And there will be other records which are present in both the tables. Then what inner join does, as a result of this, it only returns the most common records, that is the records which are present in both left as well as right table. Let's understand with the help of an example. Suppose I have these 2 data frames. Let's have a look at it. So it's over here. Let's say df1 looks like it has got 2 columns, which is product ID and product category. And df2 looks like it has got 2 columns, which is product ID and sales. We can notice that in both the tables, the most common column is product ID. So that can act as our key to join both the tables. Now if you notice, in this table, product IDs are taking the value 1, 2 and 3. Similarly, in the second table, product IDs are 1, 2 and 4. We can notice that product ID 1 and 2 both are present in both the tables, which is df1 as well as df2. So, as a result, inner join will return rows corresponding to 1 and 2. Without any further ado, let's move to our code. To do an inner join, I will firstly write my left table. Now, whatever join I do, the first table name which I enter is always considered as a left table. So, let me write df1. And for doing the join, I will use the merge command, which is df1.merge. And within the parentheses, I can simply write df2. And if I run this thing, it has returned me this common thing. The way to understand this result is, because product ID 1 and 2 are present in both the tables, that's why it is returning only 2 rows. Similarly, corresponding to product ID 1 and 2, the product categories is makeup and medicines. That's what we have got here. Similarly, what their corresponding sale amount is 2300 and 500. And that's what we have got here. Notice, product ID 3 and product ID 4, because they were present either in left table or right table and not in both the tables. That's why, as a result, they are not shown in the output of inner join. So by default in this df.merge, our join is inner join. So if I write how is equals to inner, that is our by default join. And Python is intelligent enough to understand with the help of column names that okay, in both the tables, product ID is my common column. That's why it has joined automatically by product ID. So otherwise, if you want to specify it manually, you can write something like on is equals to, and in a list you can write product ID. So the result is same. Let's talk about left join. Left join is nothing but the records from the left table, irrespective of whether they are present in the right table or not. All of those records are returned. So let's understand with this. So over here, let's again have a look. This is my df1 and this is my df2. Now, suppose my left table is df1. So the product IDs in it are 1, 2 and 3. So it means that only these product IDs will be returned. And it doesn't matter whether they are there in df2 or not. They will be shown in the output. So let's do it like this. df1, this is my left table and I'll write dot merge. And over here I'll write my right table. So df2 is my right table. To specify left join, I will write how is equals to left. By default in Python, this how is equals to inner join. That's why for doing a left join, I have to specify how is equals to left. And as I mentioned earlier, Python is intelligent enough to understand that because of common column names product ID, it is going to be the key to join both the tables. So over here, if I join this thing, we can see product ID 1, 2, 3 and their corresponding product categories are here. Now it has joined, like for product ID 1 and 2, we had the sales amount 2300 and 500. So it is present here. However, because product ID 3 was not present in the right table, That's why it has returned a missing value over here. And similarly, product ID 4 is ignored because it is present in the right table and we do not care about the records in the right table. So in left join, we realized that okay, our left table was prioritized. That is, all the records from the left table will be returned. But what if we want to do with the right table? Then for this we have the right join. So without any further ado, let me just write my df1 again here, my df2. So because of right join, my product IDs 1, 2 and 4 will be returned because I am considering df1 as my left table and df2 as my right table. If I write df1 dot merge df2, notice the syntax over here is again the same. That is, whatever I write over here in the beginning, that's my left table and the second table is my right table. And here I'll write how is equals to right. And if I run this thing, see, product ID 1 and 2 are again there, and for product ID 4, since there was no product category available for it, that's why it has returned a missing value and it has got the sales value for product ID 4 from the right table. Let's talk about outer joins, which is our final join for this tutorial. Now outer join, what does it do? That it takes the records from both left table and right table, even if the record is present only in one table, and then it gives you the final master table. So let's see with the help of an example. Suppose over here it is my df1 and here is my df2. We notice that the product IDs are 1 to 3 in this one and product IDs are 1 to 4 in this one. Then as a result of outer join, what will happen? It will give you all the product IDs. It will give you product IDs 1, 2, 3 as well as 4. So how do I do it is, I will write df.merge df2 and in the how command I will write outer. And if I see this thing, so row number 1 and 2, it was able to find information about product category and sales. But since for product ID 3, for only product category was available, it has returned. But since sales was missing, as it was not present in the right table, that's why it has returned the missing value for it. Similarly, for product ID 4, since it was present only in the right table, that's why product category is missing from here. Now let's talk about our real life scenarios which we face. Now suppose over here in our first scenario, we have got different column names. So let's say over here in df1, my common column name is product ID. And in df2, what if instead of product ID, it is called ID, but we know it's the same information. Then in our join, we will be using this a parameter. So I'll write df.merge df2. Let's say we want an inner join. And now over here, I can specify left underscore on equal to, and then I can specify my column name. Here it is product ID. And over here, I'll specify right underscore on equal to ID. So over here, you will notice that it has returned two columns, which is product ID and ID. Don't worry about it. It is giving the same information, so you can drop any one of them. However, it has done the inner join correctly now. In our next scenario, suppose if we want to know which row in our master table after join comes from which table, that is if it is coming from left table or right table, or if it is coming from both the tables, then there is a special parameter which we can use. So again, let me have a look at my df1. Over here it looks like this, and over here is my df2. I will copy paste this code. And I will notice, okay, product ID is called ID over here. So I will specify left underscore on and right underscore on. And suppose over here, I'm doing my how is equals to outer in this situation. Then it is very difficult with manual inspection to see that, okay, which record is coming from left table or right table. So for this, I can specify a parameter which is indicator equal to true. What it does is, that it adds this last column which is underscore merge, and it tells you that okay, this record is present in both the tables, that is both left as well as right. However, this particular record is present only in left table and this one is only in right table. Easy, isn't it? Let's move to our third scenario, that is when we have overlapping column names but they are not keys. So for this, let's take our two data frames. So here we have got sales for January, which has got product ID, product category and sales. And here is sales for February, which has got product ID as well as sales column. Now what happens is, if we do a by default join, then what will Python do, that it will try to do a join on the basis of common column names. So it will use product ID as well as sales column to join both the data sets. But we know it's not correct, right? So how do we do it? So firstly I will write it like sales underscore January. So this is my left table dot merge sales underscore Feb, and let me do an outer join. So let me write how is equals to outer. And now if I want to specify the column which I want to do the join on, so I will deliberately specify this on parameter this time. So over here it is product underscore ID. And now if I run this thing, by default it has renamed the columns as sales underscore X and sales underscore Y, where sales underscore X is the sales for January and sales underscore Y is the sales for February. In other words, it has automatically added the suffixes underscore X and underscore Y to the overlapping column names, right? But what if I want to give my own suffixes? So for which I can write suffixes equal to, and I can give it a list. So underscore suppose Jan, which is my first suffix, and underscore Feb is my second suffix. So now if I run this thing, notice now it is giving me the correct suffixes for January as well as February. Let's move to our final scenario of one-to-many joins. So over here, let's say suppose this is my left table and this is my right table. Now we notice that the common column is product ID, and it has got product IDs 1, 2 and 3. However, in the right table, we can see that the product IDs are getting repeated. Here it is 1, 1, 2, 2 and 4. So over here, this is the product ID is 1, but then I can join it with multiple rows in the other table. So this is an example of a one-to-many join. So we want to understand how Python behaves in such scenarios. So here are my data sets. Let me have a look at df1, which is product ID and category, and here is my df2, which is product ID and sales. Now if I write df1.merge df2 and let's do an outer join. So what it does is it creates all the possible permutations and combinations in this scenario. So to understand this thing, if you see that since one makeup was repeated 2 times here, that's why it has made both the combinations, that is one makeup 2300 and one makeup 3000. Similarly, 2 medicine was repeated 2 times here, that's why it is going to create all the permutation combinations with these rows where product ID is 2. So here it is 2 medicines 500, which is this one, and here it is 2 medicines 2400, which is this one. Similarly, 3 syrups, since it was not present in the other table, that's why it has a missing value for sales. And similarly for product ID 4, because it was not present in our left table, that's why we have a missing value in product category column. So that was all about most common joins in Python. Do let us know in the comments below how did you find this tutorial. Until then, see you soon.